My name is Jenny, and I'm right now a social media manager for an investment company in San Francisco. I would say that anger was historically and has been my kind of go-to in terms of explosive anger, specifically geared towards men for as long, basically since my teen years up until the time of being 37 now. So my relationship to anger it's like anger would rise in me and I would just suppress and then unleash it like in really volatile ways. The most explosive outbursts, like getting physical, primarily, without going too much into my personal life, would be with just men that I had these encounters with that I just kind of unleashed on. Not saying that there wasn't, provocation at all, but definitely it was like, it's just, I would say any kind of dynamics with men. So not
Yeah.
specific to intimate partnerships. Yeah, a feeling of the feeling that follows after losing control, right? So like completely witnessing this part of myself that was like beyond me, or so I thought at that time. It was really strong. So it was like there's almost was this part of me that was like, wow, well, like I feel that strength inside of me, which often it's like these outbursts would be around protecting myself or protecting other women, right? And so I witnessed that strength, but also a lot of shame around the way in which I got so angry or violent, and regret. Really seeing how my relationship and my repressed, or that aha moment around my repressed anger to do with my father, and how it directly correlated up into this moment in my intimate partnerships and my relationships with men. Like this, it was really, really profound for me, because I realized that this contention and this violence and this aggression towards men and vice versa, honestly, that I've been kind of playing out for my whole life is like, goes back to my dad, and that was like mind blowing, but also like liberating, and like, okay, well, now that I'm aware of this pattern and like know the root of it in some way, like how could I work to shift this? And like, I do still feel honestly that I'm in process, and so it's like it's not all tied up in a little package in 10 weeks. And I know that too, but I think that was really profound, and also just taking responsibility for that too, and realizing like, okay, maybe this isn't my intimate partner all the time or these other people, but this is something deep inside of me that I need to handle and be responsible for. And like, that's profound. It's emotional responsibility, right? And a lack of projection onto another human being, which it happens. That's life. Like we all are playing out our like grand dramas, right? But that was probably the most profound thing for me, is realizing, that this issue, this, what I've been kind of hanging on to, it's been, yeah, that was it. And it continues to be like kind of mind blowing. So the anger algorithm I use all the time, and I hope to use it throughout the course of my life, because again, that emotional responsibility, that ownership of how do I feel, and then what do I need, which is the beauty of your approach to anger and situations that are really emotionally like stirring or disturbing. It's like there's that root of like, what is this really about? And so yeah, it's the anger algorithm is giving me permission to take my anger or my really strong emotions, process them on my own, and then kind of figure out, do I even need to talk to this other person about this? Like, which potentially, or can I get this sorted and, do this on my own and process and get to a place of just understanding that maybe this other person can't give me what I need. And there isn't anything that I require from them. Let me just outline that this is such a drastic fucking difference in my life. Like the fact that now in conflicts, I pull back instead of pushing all in with like fucking fangs out. I've witnessed in some situations that previously would have maybe driven me over the edge or to the point of just unleashing really heavily on other people. I was really calm, and I've learned to just pull back and process my anger on my own. And so just one more comment on the anger algorithm is that I think the permission to vent, that step is like, I don't feel shame anymore. So if I'm alone and I just need to, let it all out and get all those fucking angry thoughts that are just really, nasty or irrational, whatever it is, just let it go. Like that permission has been life-changing, because it's like when I actually do that, like I notice that, hours later, the next day, whatever it is, it's like I feel so much better. You know what I mean? And I'm not ruminating and going over and over in my mind. I just don't feel that anger as intensely or at all, like my part of my thing, right, is feeling unsupported. And you came in and provided a sense of support and like, helped nurture that part of me that just wanted to kind of cut off or maybe say, I don't want to do this work anymore and disconnect. And, you like really helped me with that. And like, as far as like what kept me through, it's just that desire to transform, like I said, like it, there was a multitude of things that kind of coincided with this timing of our work. And it's just a lot of emotional pain that I was having to deal with on a regular basis, and just a lot of feelings coming up for me that I couldn't get a handle on, right? And I needed new tools. And I think that pain ultimately, and the desire to transform and change and not live in that way every day, like that's kind of what did it for me and kept me going. And I think it's important to evaluate whether or not, you're ready to take on that commitment. Of course, like that's important. But what I would say is that if you keep confronting the same issues over and over that are causing you pain and suffering around anger, around relationships, like what else is it going to be? Like, how much is that worth to you? Like, and what is it going to be? Like, you know what I mean? Because this is it. Like, Vanessa, you're the real deal. And I feel like it was just really apparent in our work and our time together, just your commitment to what you do and your connectedness to your own purpose really comes through. And so I just want to say that, because to me is like one of the best investments I've ever made, in terms of like my own emotional health. And like I said, the work isn't over. This isn't like, start day one, finish day whatever, and like your work with anger is over and you're, forever different. But yeah, they're tools now that I don't think that I will ever unlearn, and a way of approaching things that won't change in some way or will adapt. But anyway, so I understand, I get it if people have reservations, but I think it's such a worthy investment, because especially if you just keep in this repetitive cycle over and over of repressing anger, exploding, whatever your pattern is, right? It's like something's got to give, So that's what it was for me.